Hello my viewers, and in this video I'm actually going to do two reviews in one. The first review is for Challenger DC DS, which means Challenger Desert Storm. It is the same. It is basically as the same tank as Challenger Mk3, but with premium status, which means it's times better. And the Desert Storm suffix probably means it is painted in the same way as the tanks which took part in the Operation Desert Storm. I don't really know, I just bought it because actually it is it is not my first Western MBT. My first Western MBT was the Polish Leopard 2, but it is my first Western MB Premium MBT, and it is also my best British vehicle as of yet, because I haven't I hadn't really researched British 3 as of yet, and I only have British vehicles till the third era. So what can I say about this tank? It doesn't have, unlike Chinese and Soviet tanks, it doesn't have an autoloader. Instead it has a 4-screw member who loads the gun, which means you can actually enhance your reload time by means of upgrading your crewman, which is a good thing, because at top you can reduce your reload from 6.5 seconds to 5 seconds, which means you will be on par with autoloader tanks, despite not having an autoloader. And the gun itself is pretty good. It has good damage beyond armor, and it also has two needle shots, the first of which has slightly better penetration, and the second has slightly less ricochet bounce off chance. Basically they are mostly they have mostly the same specifications, but I use the first shell which has a slightly better penetration. Its penetration is 410 millimeters. Basically I could have resisted the enemy longer, but I decided to bail out of the damaged tank so that I can try out my new helicopter, G-Lynx. G-Lynx is a premium version of the Lynx helicopter, and and it has a battle rating of 10, and is the lowest BR helicopter with Hellfire missiles, and basically the lowest lowest BR helicopter with advanced missiles. By advanced I mean the type of missiles which have a mixed type of guidance, combining laser guidance and optical guidance. Those missiles, as far as I know, go in an arc, and I don't know whether they are classified as top-down attack missiles, but they actually do travel in an arc and dive into the tank's roof, where the armor is the least thick, which means those missiles are more effective than regular ones. Regular missiles with semi-automatic guidance. Unlike Chinese blue arrow missiles, Hellfire missiles actually do kill tanks, despite having almost the same explosive load. The direct hit with a Hellfire missile usually means that the tank is going to die, which makes them far better. And they also have better range, 8 kilometers versus 6 kilometers on Chinese missiles. And as you can see, they damage tanks far better. As far as helicopters go, G-Lynx is a pretty good machine and fulfills its role of a missile carrier perfectly. You can load it with 8 Hellfires and also with either 4 Stingers or 2 Stingers and a 20mm gun, but its aiming options are limited, so I prefer not to take this gun. The Stingers itself are pretty effective against enemy helicopters, but also pretty useless against jet aircraft, because their maximum overload is 10G, and you know, Stinger is actually a manpad which was modified to be fitted on helicopters, so that helicopters have some degree of protection against aircraft, but it doesn't give you equal chance in a dogfight. You can kill a plane with Stinger, but it is far worse than the Chinese anti-air missile that you can encounter on Z-90E, and also Z-90 has 8 anti-air missiles, while you have only 4 Stingers on G-Lynx. However, as an anti-ground helicopter, and by anti-ground I mean anti-tank, G-Lynx is far better than its Chinese counterpart, mainly because Hellfire missiles actually do kill armored targets. They have far better penetration and far better damage beyond armor. Most of the time when you penetrate an enemy tank with a Hellfire missile, this tank dies. And Hellfire is actually effective against tanks with combined armor, such as well, the Challenger DS you saw in this video previously is one of those tanks which have combined armor. It has around 300 millimeters of NERA combined armor at maximum, and missiles like Hellfire can actually kill tanks like those. And they are of course pretty effective against tanks without combined armor too, and against tanks with explosive reactive armor, also known as ERA, which is pretty useless against those types of missiles, you know, because they have extreme penetration, more than 1000 of millimeters actually. Good thing is that when you play as Britain, you usually don't encounter Challengers and Abrams tanks, but sometimes you do, and you can easily be pitted against Germany, which has Leopard 2, one of the tanks with an effective combined armor layer. One bad thing about Hellfire and other missiles with a mixed type of guidance and top-down style of attack is that it is actually pretty hard to hit enemy targets with those types of missiles, especially when the targets are quickly moving, like this big light Panzer 57. However, they are pretty effective against tanks which move slowly or don't move at all. It also seems like some types of smoke can confuse the guiding laser, leading you to making you miss your target. So overall, G-Lynx fulfills the role of an anti-tank helicopter far better than Z-90 does, as you can see, but its capabilities against air targets are limited, but it's a pretty good machine. Thank you for watching, and Slava Ukraini! Hello from Ukraine!